Hey guys, I'm Alistair from Trail and Kale, and this is my Brooks Catamount Agil review. First off then, what is the Catamount Agil designed to do best, and who's it going to be best for? This is a very minimal trail racing shoe designed for running very fast on very technical trails. And the key word right there was minimal. They are a very responsive, minimal trail racing shoe. So personally, I wouldn't run over the half marathon distance when it comes to trail racing in this shoe. Because there are other highly responsive technical trail racing shoes that also do offer some cushioning and a little bit more protection on the foot. I will be sharing alternatives at the end of this review. All right, let's go over the key specifications of a Catamount Agil. Firstly, they cost $180, which is quite expensive. I will let you know at the end of this review if I believe they're worth that price tag. How do they fit and feel? Well, they are true to size in length, but they do have a fairly narrow fit, and that's really mostly in this midfoot area. For me, when I started running in them, they did feel very constrictive and tight. After about 5 kilometers, I decided just to loosen up these laces way more than I normally would, and actually that alleviated quite a lot of that constrictive feeling. Just a little bit odd because I never have to overly loosen my laces on a new pair of running shoes. And I think a lot of that is coming from this one-piece sock-like mesh upper, which I'll go over in just a minute. Continuing on the feel and comfort then, I did notice some pressure points on the upper of this shoe. So you can actually see these orangey overlays, plastic overlays I guess you could call them, are quite rigid. So when you do flex your foot, you can see right there's some popping and cracking. That actually kind of digs into the top of your feet, or it did on mine anyway. And I noticed that first when I started hitting some very steep climbs where the flex of my foot was quite extreme. Over time though, that did seem to break in, but not 100%. I feel like with a design like this on a pair of running shoes, maybe Brooks should consider doing some bend tests. I don't know, maybe 1,000 bends before shipping them out. That would certainly help runners who slip these on for the first time. Staying on the fit and feel, the heel lock is brilliant in these shoes, so there's no slippage or lost energy when you're climbing. And one thing to note, with this built-in heel gaiter, you will need socks that do extend past this gaiter, otherwise you may suffer some rubbing in the heel area. Something to be aware of. Moving on to the upper, it is quite clever. I do actually kind of like the fit right out of the box. Once you get those laces sorted and it's not too constrictive, it is a nice one-piece sock-like upper. It's a mesh material, it's not knit like you see on many other trail running shoes that have this one-piece upper. The laces are great. They're using those nice notched laces. If you're familiar with Brooks, you will have seen it on the Hyperion Elite and also the Catamount 3s. I love notch laces because when you do them up, they actually stay done up. There's also a little bit of stretch in there and they're very lightweight. And as I mentioned before, there is a built-in gaiter. This works really well, by the way, keeping debris out. And there is a loop on top of the tongue designed to stow your laces in when you've done them up so they don't go flapping around and whisk coming undone during a run. The midsole is very responsive, so it is a fast shoe, but with that response and low stack height does come a lot of trail feel. Define that how you like. Being able to feel the trail underneath you is certainly a good thing because you can adapt to the trails very quickly and respond to them. But you do also feel some of those sharp objects on the trail, like sharp rocks and roots. So pros and cons to a very responsive midsole like this for sure. They do have a speed vault trail plate, which basically means it's a plate that runs along the midsole, and that gives you forward propulsion. When you flex your foot, it stores the energy, and then when you take off, that energy is released, helping you run faster. And the midsole foam is nitrogen injected DNA Flash V2. Moving on to the outsole, it's using Brooks's Trail Tack green rubber compound. Exceptional rubber compound, very close to Vibram's Mega Grip in performance. It has a 6mm drop from heel to toe, And they weigh 8 ounces for a size US men's 9, that's my pair. That's very lightweight, by the way. And when it comes to support, they're very much a neutral shoe. And be aware, it is a very narrow footprint or platform that you're going to be running on. And the upper is very flexible, it's a one-piece mesh. So there's not a huge amount of support in the upper. Meaning, on certain terrain, you will lose stability in a shoe like this. Unless, of course, your ankles are used to running in a shoe like this, in which case they will handle all the stability you need. If you've been watching this review and thinking, this guy knows what he's talking about, I'm enjoying watching this video, I'd like to watch more videos like this. Well, you can. Just give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more running shoe reviews just like this one, but also running shoe roundups. Bam, you made it to my performance review. Thanks for sticking around. I'm going to start by going over the features that I really like about the Catamount Agil, because this is a highly tuned trail racing shoe. Of course, it's going to be a double-edged sword. There's going to be some really great things about it, and there's going to be some not so good things. So, some people are going to love it, some people are not. The things that work really well are, of course, the fact that it's super lightweight, very fast, and has excellent traction in technical terrain. And that includes going uphill and downhill. So it claws into the trail when you are going up steep inclines, but of course you have great adaptability and response when running downhill. And that's exactly really what you want from a high performance technical trail racing shoe. This makes these particular trail racing shoes exceptionally good over shorter distances and running over technical terrain, where you're not really sure what to expect, but you want a shoe to be able to respond to it quickly. The gaiter works really well. This is one of those double-edged swords. It has a few purposes, one being that it does give you a good heel lock. It wraps around your heels, locks your foot within the shoe, so when you're climbing there's no slippage or lost energy. I really like that about these shoes. But also it's a built-in gaiter, so it does keep debris out. The one-piece mesh upper is very breathable as well. It has zoned breathability sections. I don't know if you can see through it here, but as I look towards the camera through this upper, it's very visible and transparent, and that's a good indicator that it's breathable. I also like to breathe through the shoe with my hand in it. That's another great indicator. And of course, running in hot temperatures like I do out here in California. So I know immediately if a shoe is going to be breathable. This one is, and when it's breathable like this, that means it's going to drain well as well. So if your feet do get submerged on a trail race, you've got a river crossing, for example, or it's just raining, then when that water goes away, stops raining, or you've crossed the river, they will start to drain very quickly. Overall then, I really do enjoy the feel and response I get from these shoes when running on technical trails. I do wish they were a little bit more comfortable, however. And that brings me on to my cons. So they're not the most comfortable shoes out there. I mentioned before, it is quite tight in the midfoot. I was able to alleviate some of this constrictiveness or constrictive feelings that I was getting from the shoe just by really over loosening these laces, running in them a little bit and then tightening them up a little bit more afterwards. The plastic overlays going right over the toe box, these need work. I understand what Brooks is trying to do. They're trying to create some support or rigidity to a one-piece upper, which would otherwise be very flexible and have no support at all. But it just doesn't work for me. If you're going to do this, I think they need to be broken in before they're shipped out. The gaiter can rub on the back of your heel. I didn't experience this because my socks were long enough to cover this little flexible top bit of a gaiter at the heel. With that said, do make sure you're wearing socks that are long enough to cover that, otherwise you will most likely get some rubbing points in this. And then the only other minor point I would say is stability. Because of this upper design, there's not a huge amount of support in the upper, and it is a narrow footprint underfoot. They can be a little unstable in certain trail scenarios, so solid, high frequency, rocky types of terrain, stuff like that. These shoes might feel a little bit unstable for you. Top alternatives right now then. Well, my favorite trail racing shoe that's minimal, fast, lightweight, responsive, everything that this shoe is trying to be, so that's effectively a sky racing shoe, I guess you could call it, would be the Merrell MTL Long Sky 2 Matrix. One heck of a long name, one heck of a great trail racing shoe. I'll put a link up there now so you can go watch that review next. For more trail racing shoe options from other brands, definitely head over to my best trail running shoes roundup on trailandkale.com. That list is regularly updated, so if you're watching this video in the far future, then you might want to check that one out too. Are they worth $180 then? Well, it's quite a lot of money for a minimal trail racing shoe like this. I guess it's on the top end at least. There are cheaper ones and there are more expensive ones. But I feel like for a shoe that's not 100% comfortable, and because of that, a shoe that I probably wouldn't want to run over half marathon distance in. Sometimes I like to run 50k ultra marathons. This shoe I wouldn't take on that just because of the comfort. And because of that, I don't think it's worth $180. Sorry guys, it's a very nice shoe. There's a lot of great design aspects with it, but when it comes to comfort, it's just not quite there yet. Well, I really hope you enjoyed this Brooks Catamount Agil review. If you did, please give the video a like, share it with a friend, and subscribe to this channel for more running shoe reviews just like this one, but also running shoe roundups too. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.